All right, I'm looking at another Sudoku today. This one was sent in to me by someone named BremSter. BremSter actually has their own YouTube channel where they solve Sudokus, and he solved one of mine recently. So I'll leave a link to his solve of my puzzle in the description below, and also just his channel in general. So you can go check that out. And I am going to solve this puzzle, which is called Orrery. I think is the way you pronounce that. I'm not actually sure. I had to Google what an orrery was. I did not know. It's like a model of the solar system, like a mechanical model where the things spin around and such. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know there was a name for one of those. So this is called Orrery. I guess because of this is sort of like the planets and their movements maybe, and they're kind of spinning, and we've got a diagonal constraint, so there's kind of everything's revolving around the middle maybe. I don't know. That's sort of what my assumption is. Uh, Rules for this puzzle are pretty standard. There's just normal arrows where the digits along the arrows sum to the number in the circle. There's killer cages where the digits within the cage sum to the number in the corner. And then there's the diagonal constraint, which in addition to putting 1 through 9 in every row, column, and box, we're going to put the digits 1 through 9 on both diagonals as well. And that's it for the rules. So I'll leave a link in the description as usual where you can try this puzzle yourself. And I'm going to give it a shot now. Let's reset our timer. And here we go. Okay, so I mean, the first thing I can do is these are all 3-cell arrows, I think. All of them? Yeah, all 3-cell arrows. So they all have to be at least 6. Because a 3-cell arrow, the minimum you can do is 1, 2, and 3, which would sum to 6. Now, the interesting thing with these 4 is because of the diagonals, they all have to be different. So, obviously, these two have to be different because they're in the same column. You know, these two have to be different because they're in the same row. But if you think about this one in the bottom left, it sees this one in its column, this one in its row, and it sees the other one on the diagonal. So every single one of them sees all 3 of the other ones. So they all have to be different. So they're kind of like a complete set of 6, 7, 8, and 9, essentially. Now that's not the same for these two, so that's less helpful. Let's see, the 15 is going to have to be 6, 9, or 7, 8. The 13 is not so limited. I mean, so this, well, it is a little bit. So think about your options. You could have 9 and 4, which would have to be this way because we can't put a 9 on this arrow. You could have 8 and 5, which again, you can't put an 8 on the arrow. You could have 6 and 7, which would have to be this way. And 6 and 7 would only work if 6 was on the arrow, which would have make that one have to be a 9. And now that we know this is a 4, 5, or 6, if you put if you put anything smaller like a 3, you'd have to have a 10. So this can't be 6 then, because you can't put 1, 2, and 3 on this arrow. But it could still be 7 if you had 1 and 2 with a 4. 7, 9, yeah. 5. 5 would go with 8, so it would have to be 9. You'd have 1 and 3. So I think you have to have, yeah, you have to have a 1 on this arrow, because the only way you wouldn't have a 1 on any of these arrows, actually, but is if it was 2, 3, and 4 with a 9 on the circle. But 2, 3, and 4 would mean this would have to be a 4, which would put a 9 right there, so you couldn't have a 9 on the circle. So you have to have a 1 on there. But I don't know if we can say for sure that you have to have 1s on these other ones. Now down here, this one isn't quite the same as the 13 because these are all going to be smaller digits. I mean, you could do 7 and 1, but anything past that, 2, 6, you could do it. Well, no, you couldn't do 2, 6 actually. No, you could, but it would have to be this way. Because if this was the 6, you'd have to have 1, 2, 6 on the arrow. It's the only way you can have a 6 on a 3-cell arrow. And these would have to be 1 and 2, so you couldn't do 2 and 6. But you could do 2 and 6 this direction. And then 3 and 5 could go either way, because this could be a 5 with a 1 and a 2, making 8 and a 3 there. So that one's less helpful. Okay. You know what? I think this is gonna be a set puzzle. It just feels like that with all the arrows. And I've been avoiding using set on the channel because it's a little hard to explain. But if you look at that pattern right there, I mean, this is the same, using the arrows and the cages in the corner boxes, this is the same digits, or I mean the same positions. So that's definitely going to be a set thing. So here's what I'm going to do. I've been thinking about doing this anyways, so this will be the perfect opportunity. I am going to record a separate video after I get done recording this, explaining set. So I'm going to link to that other video where I explain what set is. And then I'm just going to proceed with this, assuming you know what set is. If you don't know, go watch that one. And then in the future, if we need to use set, I can just kind of point to that video and not have to re-explain set every time. So we're just going to proceed as if you kind of already understand what set is. And so what we need to do is we need to have basically two equal sets. And ideally, what we're going to have is the circles. So not necessarily all the circles, but each circle arrow combination is going to be in different sides of the set. So, these aren't necessarily, the blue and the gold aren't necessarily in the same one, but the blue and the yellow here are in opposite sides, and the gold and the red are in opposite sides, that kind of thing. Now, so I'm going to highlight these. We got to figure out what our sets are going to be, and I'm assuming it's going to use the diagonals, but so if we fill in these, basically what I've done is boxes 1, 3, 7, and 9. I've marked the ones that are cages and arrows in yellow, and then the kind of extraneous ones in blue, just to kind of see what we're dealing with here. So now, ideally, the goal is to, now we've got these arrows also that we need to include. Let's just mark those red for now, just to kind of see how it looks. Now we want to include, we want the circles and its corresponding arrow to be in opposite ones. And I'm noticing that this arrow, this circle, and this arrow are all in rows 7 and 8. Yep, and same thing up here. So up here, the arrow, circle, arrow are all in 2 and 3. So if we just delete the colors on those for a second, you can see that row 1 has a circle, an arrow, and a circle. And then 2 and 3 has an arrow, a circle, and an arrow. And same down here. Row 9 has, one side of the coin, essentially, that we want to have. So let's use, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what we need to do. Let's delete all the colors for a second. So row 1 and row 9 do we want to do it that way? Yeah, we do. Because, so I was thinking about using actually row 7 and 8 and row 2 and 3. But I want to combine, I think we need to use the diagonal. Because the reason I think we need to use the diagonal is, actually, if I go back to here again. So we said that these were all in those 2 rows, but you'll notice that some of the digits, these extra digits, as we're calling them, extraneous ones, they're in that row 1 and row 9, and they're also on these diagonals. And those are the ones we're going to want to kind of remove because they're in both sets. So we're going to want those to overlap. So if we use rows 7 and 8 and rows 2 and 3, we've got 4 sets already, and if we add the diagonals, we'd have too many. So I think what we do instead is we do kind of the opposite and use 1 and 9 with the diagonals, and that gives us, let's see, let's make those yellow. It's kind of 4 sets, but we've got these overlaps, these 5 overlaps here that we have to figure out how to deal with. Okay, we'll deal with that in a minute. And then, so it's 4 sets, and then I'm gonna use the 4 boxes, 1, 3, 7, and 9, as our other set. So let's do blue, and then let's label the overlapping areas that are in yellow and blue as green, because yellow and blue makes green. So, but we got to remember these corners. Oh, actually, I think that works. Yeah, so these are like, let's make them gold. Make them gold. So these are actually, the gold is actually blue, and it's in yellow twice. So it's kind of in green and also yellow again. Right. Okay, so 2 sets. Everything that's green is in the yellow set and the blue set. The yellow set equals the blue set. We can remove the green digits. And what that also does is, so we said the gold was essentially green and another yellow, right? Because it was in yellow twice. It was in yellow twice and once in blue. If we remove the blue and one of the yellows, then we're just left with it being yellow. Yes. So now we know that the yellow, all of the yellow cells are the same as all of the blue cells. Yes, that's correct. And the whole reason of getting the circles and the arrows separate is because we know that, for example, these 3 digits on this arrow equal that circle. So since they're equal, and the circle's in one set and the blues are in the other set, and they equal each other, if we remove them, the sets are still equal. It's kind of like if you removed a 3 from one set and a 1 and a 2 from the other set. The sets would still be equal. The values, the total sum. So we can remove all of these circle, arrow. Ooh, is this going to work? I feel like we're removing too much. Oh, and we have to remember this one's double counted. Liquid gold. Is that going to... I feel like... So there's only 2 blue cells. All right, we'll see. So these 2 blue cells have to equal these. So what's the minimum we can do here? It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is 15, but we've double counted the middle, so if that's a 1, which would be the minimum, it'd be 16. Yeah, so we can make that happen. So this is a 7, and this is a 9. And these are, you have to do the minimum with the 1. I think that's right. Hopefully this works out. I guess if you're seeing this, then it must have worked out. All right, so we can remove the 7 from these. We can remove the 9 from these. So we know there has to be a 7 over here. There has to be a 9 over here. Now, we've got the 1 there. So, oh, and this one, since this can't be a 9, this has to have a 1 on it. And that 1 pushes the 1 there, which means our 1 up here has to be right there. So this is either 2 or 3 then, because we've already got 1 and 4. So we need 2 or 3 to make 7 or 8. these are 6, 7, 8, and 9. This one can't be a 9 because it has to be able to make 10. So we can do that. Now this is interesting. We've got 3 sets of 6, 7, 8, and 9 here. And what I'm wondering is, so this is 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're going to have, we've already used the 9. We're going to have 2 out of 6, 7, and 8 in these circles. So we can only have 1 out of 6, 7, and 8 in here. And I think 22, let's think about this. So could we get by with only 1 of 6, 7, 8, and 9? So if you had 9, that would be the maximum you could do, which could be here. And then no 6, 7, or 8. You'd have 9, 5, 9, 5, 4, 3, which would be 21, right? 5, 4, and 3 is 12, and 9, 21. Yeah, so you need 2 copies of 6, 7, 8, and 9 in here. Only 1 can be in here, so this one has to be a 6, 7, 8, or 9, which then gives us a quadruple. So these are 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, what about over here? Do we need to have... We've already got the 7. We've got 2 of 6, 8, and 9 here. Do we have to have a 6, 8, or 9 in here? Well, let's imagine we didn't have a 6, 8, or 9. Which means, and since we can't put one right there, that means we don't have a 6, 7, 8, or 9 in the cage. The maximum we could do would be 5, 4, 3, 2, which is only 14. So we need a 6, 8, or 9 in the 17 cage. These cannot have 6, 7, 8, or 9. So those are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, but we could still do... I was trying to see if we... Because we've ruled 6 out of these, but you could still put a 6 on the arrow in one of these spots, couldn't you? This one can't be 1. This one can't be 1, actually. So if there's not a 1 there, then we can put a 1 in the cage. There's probably a 1 on... I mean, most likely there's a 1 on all the arrows, because the only way you can not have a 1 is if it's 2, 3, and 4 with a 9 in the circle. So odds are good that you're going to have a 1 on all of them, but... speaking of 1s, there's a 1 down here. Just by Sudoku. There's a 1 in there. Can we put a... I don't know if we can say for sure there's a 1 up here yet. Could there be a 1 right here? Let's see. If you make this is 22. This could be as much as 9. That's 31. The maximum you can do here is 31, which is going to leave 14. So yeah, you can't put a 1 up there. So there's a 1 on there, which means there's a 1 down here just by Sudoku. That one can't be because of that. Can't quite put it on the arrow. Yeah, we can. We can put it on the arrow. Diagonal constraint. This one right here. That's a 1. So there's no 1 in the 17 cage. I don't know if that helps us too much. So the minimum we can do, besides that, we know there's a 6, 8, or a 9 in here. The minimum we can do besides that is 9, 2, 3, and 4, which would have an 8. Oh, we can't put a 9 in here. That's right. I was just going to say we can't put a 9 in here because the minimum we can do, but we already knew that because there has to be a 9 in one of these two because these 4 have to contain 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay. So this is a 6 or an 8 in here. 6 is going to be 11, which 11 would be 2, 4, 5. So 6 with a 2, 4, 5. 8 we would need 9, which would be 2, 3, 4. So I think there's a 2 and a 4 in that cage no matter what. With an 8, 3 or a 6, 5. Okay. But I'm not sure what that does for us. Um, ooh, the 9 here. The 9, yes. So we could have up to a 6 on this arrow potentially, right? Oh, this one can't be a 1. The most you can have on here is a 6. If this was a 9, you could do 1, 2, 6. So we can't put a 9 up there, and we can't put a 9 down here, so the 9 actually has to be in the 22 cage in row 2 there, so this cannot be 9, which now means this can't be 6. It also means we have a 9 up here. Now that's interesting, because there, if the 9 was not in that corner, if it was in there and down here, it would also not be on this diagonal. But it could go right there, couldn't it? Yeah, it could. Okay. So this is 6, 7, or 8. So 9 in here. It's still got. You can't have a 1. So we need 13 and 3 because we've removed the 9 from 22. 13 and 3 with 2. Yeah, there's a few options there. Okay, so what do we want to look at next? Actually, no, let's go back to this 9 again. So I said if it was here, it would have to be there, right? If we don't have it in this corner. And since it's not on the diagonal, it would have to be in one of those two. And so in that situation, that's one possibility. We can't put a 9 on this circle because there'd have to be a 9 on the diagonal. Now, the other possibility is that the 9 is in this corner. And now it's not here. Right, because there's a 9 here. So we can't put it on the diagonal anywhere up here. So there has to be a 9 on this diagonal as well. So if you put the 9 there, there has to be one here. And now where are you going to put a 9 in row 9? It would have to be in one of these two. So I think you either have to have a 9 here, there, and those two. That's one possibility. Or you have a 9 in one of those. Either way, this can't be a 9. I think. Yeah, because another way to think about it is if you put a 9 in here, now you can't put a 9 on this diagonal or in row 9. So you need one here, and you also need one up here. But we already know you can't use either of these, so it would have to be in that corner. And so you wouldn't be able to put it right here. And now you're not going to have one on the other diagonal. Okay, so that can't be a 9. 6, 7, and 8. What else can we do? So this one's 24. 6. So this is, I guess we can put a 7 in here, can't we? Because the 7, just like we put a 9 in up here, this 7 can't be on the arrow, so it's going to have to be in the cage there. Okay, so this is 6, 7, or 8. So this total is 30, 31, or 32. Which leaves 14, 13, or 12. No, 15, 14, or 13. Sorry, I don't know how to do math. Because it's 45 total for this box. Minus 30, 31, or 32 leaves 15, 14, or 13. If it's 15, it has to be 6, 9 because of the 7 there. If it's 14, it has to be 6, 8. 4, 9, 5. It's 13. Yeah, there's too many options there. But okay, so where do we look next? This is very interesting how we I feel like it almost feels like as we're solving it almost feels like we're the orrery kind of spinning around the puzzle here. I'm jumping around to all these different places and using the diagonal as everything interacts across the grid, and it's interesting. Um, so what about up here? Let's look at this one because this one had this is with 22. This is 28, 29, or 30. Yes, this is where we should have looked. Okay, because this one is more. So this one is 22 plus the 6, 7, or 8 and the arrow. So it's 28, 29, or 30. If it's 28, then we need 17 more to finish the box because it has to be 45 total. And 17, the only way to get 17 is 9 and 8, but we can't use a 9. So we can't put a 6 in here. Now if it's 7, that's 29, which leaves 16, and the only way to get 16 is 9 and 7. So again, it can't be, so it has to be an 8, which would be 15 here, which is going to have to be 7 and 8 since we already have the 9 there. Okay, so 7 and 8, this is 9, 6, and then 2, 5, or 3, 4. And this is 1 with 2, 5, or 3, 4. But that 8 means this can't be an 8. It's a 6 or a 9. Now, it can't have a 4 anymore. Could be 2. If it's 6, then it's going to be 2, 3. If it's 9, then it's going to be 5, 3. So that's a 2 or a 3. So this could be as small as 13, which could be 9 and 4, couldn't it? Could it be 9 and 4 though? This would if this was 8, this would be 9 and 4. This would be 1, 2, 5 then. 6, 7, 8, 3. Yeah, I guess that would work. Okay. So this one can't be 8. So this can't be 7. Ah, yes. And so now where do we put a 7 in this column? Can't be up here because of the 7, 8 pair there. Can't be in here because the 7 here would require an 8 there. It can't be there because that 7, it can't be on the arrow. This has to be the 7. There we go. That has to be the 7. Now, can we do... Right, and so where can you put... Oh, we could still put a 9 in this cage, though, couldn't we? I was going to try and do the same thing on the other side with the 9, because we don't have a 9 in here. Well, but it has to be in this... No, it doesn't have to be in the cage. Oh, because it could be up here. Can the 9 be in the cage here? I think it can. I don't see why not. If we could put the 9 in here, then we could place a 9 up there, but I don't think we can do that. So we've got 7. We need 17 in 3. We can't use a 1. We also can't use... So we can't do like 2, 3, 8. Because in addition to the 1 down here, you have to have a 2 or a 3. Not necessarily both. You could have both with the 6. Ah, this can't be a 7 now, of course. So You have to have a 2 or a 3 on here. So could you have 7, 2? That would leave 14, 6, 8. I think that would work. 7, 3. No, 7, 2 would leave 15, wouldn't it? It'd have to be 7, 2, 6, 9. That seems possible. Okay. We know there's a 7 down here. We know there's a 6, 7, or 8 in here. So, 8. There's an 8 up here. There's a 7 in one of those. So actually, there has to be a 7 here or here on the diagonal. No, yeah, because you can't put it there because of the 7, 8. Can't put it there or there because of these 7s. So one of those two has to be a 7. Don't know that that really helps us, though. Okay. So 6, 8, or 9. 2, 5, 3, 4. This is one. I feel like I want to figure something out with this 24 cage. I know there's a 1 in there. This is a 6 or an 8. With, yeah, we already said it's 2 and 4. With an 8, 3, or a 6, 5. Okay, can this be a 6? 1, 2, 3. You'd have 7 and 8. A 6 and 9. That's a 6. An 8. You'd have to have a 6 up there. Okay, what if it's an 8? If it's an 8, then you have 13 here. If that's an 8, this is 6, 7. Oh, no, it can't be an 8. Okay. The diagonal stuff. This diagonal Sudoku is I'm just not as familiar with it. I forget to look at it. So the 8 here means you can't put an 8 on the diagonal. We know there's no 8 on this. So the 8 has to be on the diagonal down here. This is a 6. Okay, so this is 1, 2, and 3. And now this is 6 with 24. That's 30. This has to be 15 to make 45. The only way to make 15 without a 7 is 6 and 9. That's not a 9. We don't have a 9 in here. This is a 9 because it's the only place in column 4, which is what I was expecting. Because of the 7 here, I figured we were going to kind of do the same thing on the opposite side with the symmetry of the puzzle. Okay, now we've got the 9. I think we already knew there was a 9 in this cage anyways, so. Now, this can't be 6. So we have a 7-8 pair over here. This one is not 8. So we have a 6-9 pair. Now we know there's an 8 in the cage because it's the only place in the column for an 8. So we have an 8 here. It's got to be 2, 4, 3, 8. 2, 4, 3, 8. 2, 3, 4, 8. So one of these two has a 5. Whichever one is the 9 has a 5. So if this is 9, then it's 5 and 3. If this is 6, then it's 2, 3. So we got a 2, 3, 5 there. 2, 3, 5. So one of those is a 5. So now, look at this. 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. This can't be a 6. This is 2, 3, 4, or 5. Yep, can't be a 1 either. And it can't be a 2 or a 3, actually, because we have the 1. Oh, we can fill these in. These are 4, 5, and 8. And that one has to be the 8, so that gives us 7 and 8, like that. And that was the only place for a 7 in the column. Can we do something similar? I don't think we can, actually. The 9 could be in either one of those. That's not an 8. This is not a 7. That's not a 7, which means that's not a 3. Oh, and the 8 here. This can't be an 8. This is a 6 with a 4. 4. These are not 6. Now we have a 7, 9, which gives us 6. And now we get the 9 over there. This has to be 8. This is 7 because of the 15. This is not 7 or 8. It's a 9. So now we have 9 from 22, which gives us 13. We need to do 13 using only 2. Oh, there has to be a 6 in there. So we have 9 and 6 in the cage, which is 15, and we need 7, which is going to be 2, 5, or 3, 4. Yep. So we'll have a 9, a 6, and then a 2, 5, or a 3, 4. So 6, 6. There's a 6 down here. We also know there's a 6 on the diagonal up there. Is this going to be helpful? This is 1, 5, 6, and 9. These can't be 1. Do we know where the 9s go? We don't know yet. There's a 9. One of these two is a 9. And one of these two is a 9. So we've got 4, 5, 7, 8. This is 9, 6, 2, 5, or 3, 4. There has to be a 7 up there. There also has to be a 7 in one of these two. Those are both 7s. Yeah, that would work. Otherwise, these are both 7s. Could be these two and that one. Or these two. And down here somewhere. Yeah. I think that works, either one of those. It's 1, 4 with a 2 or a 3. If this was... Oh, if this was 6, this would be a 2 or a 3. We'd have a 2, 3 pair. This would have to be 4, 5. But we needed... Oh, no. Because of the 6. I was going to say we need 2, 5 or 3, 4. And if you have 2, 3, you're taking away both sets. But one of them will be down here. Oh, the 4s. The 4s. These two 4s right here. Give us a 4 down here by Sudoku. Oh, this can't... Right. Or another way to look at it is this 4 eliminates the 4 from in here. And this has to be 2, 5 or 3, 4. So now it can't be a 3. So it's 2, 5, 6. This is a 3. That makes that an 8. This one is a 7. So that's a 2. This can't be 4. 2, 5, 6. So these are going to be 1, 3, 7, and 8. These can't be 1s. Now, the 8 on the diagonal tells us there has to be an 8 down here. There's also an 8 there. Okay, the 7, right. We said the 7 would force a 7 up there, which is going to push a 7 right there. And now these can't be 7. 7, 7. There's a 7 there. Yep, 7 there. Okay. Good so far. Now, we need to know if this is 6 or 9. Ah, the 3 in here makes that a 2. So this is either 2, 5, or I mean, sorry, it's either 2, 3, or it's 5, 3, but that one's a 3 either way. And now we can't put a 3 anywhere in the 22 cage. This up here has to be 1, 3, 4. Which means these are 2, 5, and 6. We have a 2, 5, 6 triple, actually 2, 2, 5 pair, which gives us the 6. But we also have the triple, which gives us the 4 over here. And then, wait, yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, and this one's not a 6. It was a 2, 5 in the row, not in the box. Across here we have 2, 5, 6. And this one can't be 6, so the 6 has to be right there, which gives us the 9. Makes that makes that a 5. This one's the 6. 2, 3 pair there. This now has to be a 9, I think. Yes, because it's the only place on that diagonal that you can put a 9. This is not a 9. That 5, 6 pair gives us a 1, 9 pair. And then what? 1, 7, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3. Okay, so these are 2, 5, and 6 to complete the box. This one's not a 6. That puts a 6 there. This has to be a 2 to finish the box, which is going to give us the 5 and the 2 and the 5 and the 2. These are not 5. That 2 gives us the 3 here and the 4. 3. Okay, and then 3, 8, 3, 7, 8. Okay, so what about over here? We need 3, 5, 8, and 9. These are not 3. This one's not 9. Can't be 5. 3, 5. These cannot be 9 either. So this has to be the 9. 3, 5, 8. And this one can't be an 8 because the 8 down here can't be on the diagonal, so it's in the bottom row. So this is actually a 5, which gives us a 3, 8 pair on the diagonal. These are not 3s. Oh, they're also not 4s. This gives us a 5 and a 2. It's going to give us a 3, 4 on the diagonal there, which means this is 5. It's the only one left on that diagonal. 8. 3, 8. That's a 1, 3 pair. Gives us a 7, 8 pair. And now 2, 3. These are 4 and 8. And the 8 and the 4 up here tell us which order those go in. The 5 here gives us the 4 and the 5 there. And that 4 is going to give us the 3 and the 4, which is then going to give us the 1 and the 3, which will give us the 2 and the 1, the 3, 1, 3, 9, 1 from the 1. That 9 gives us the 7, the 9, and we just resolve all of the wonderful pairs across the middle here. The 5 gives us the 6 and the 5. This one does. And then there's no 8 there, which puts the 8 down here. 2, 3 gives us the 4. 2, 3 pair makes this a 5. This one is not a 2 or a 5. 6, 2. And then the 3 there gives us the 2 and the 3, which fixes the 2 and the 3 at the bottom. And our timer turns green in just under 45 minutes. I'll take that. I think that was pretty good. That was a cool puzzle. Anytime you're using set, it gets a little complicated and ups your time a little bit, at least for me. I don't know. I feel like I do a lot better job using set when I'm making a puzzle than when I'm solving a puzzle. Because it's a little hard sometimes to figure out what should your sets be. So that was pretty interesting. I was a little worried as I started to do it because of these overlapping corners and the overlapping middle, but it all worked out actually. That was kind of cool. I wonder if there's a way to do it. You know, I was noticing the 2, 3, and 7 and 8, and I ended up using kind of the inverse, I guess, the 1 and the 9. So maybe there's a way to do it using 2, 3, 7, and 8. But anyways, if you found a different set, or if you managed to do it without set, I'd be really interested to know, because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere until I did that. So let me know how it went for you. If you used a different set, if you used the same set as me, if you did something different. I'd be curious to know how it went for you. And thanks to BremSter for that puzzle and for sending it in to me, and also for solving one of mine on his channel. So go check his out as well. And I'll see you again soon with another puzzle. Thanks. Bye.